Hi everybody, and welcome to Thursday's edition of Tunes from the Shop with Skip. Yesterday I played some music in honor of Irene Triplett, a 90-year-old woman who had just passed away, unique in that she was the last person in the United States who was receiving a pension from the American Veterans Administration for her father's service in the American Civil War in the 1860s. Very interesting story. You can go back to the last video and have a look if you'd like to hear it. I played music yesterday from the American Civil War period from a book published then called the Fifers and Drummers Guide, the Bruce and Emmett book. I played it on an antique fife from that period, and all of that stuff struck a particular note, sorry, no pun intended, with a good friend of mine named Jim Clark. Jim is one of the top drummers in American style fife and drum music, very accomplished pianist and music historian. Get ready, Jim. Here's a picture from way back when over here in Lugano, Switzerland. That is yours truly in the red shirt. That very dashing bearded fellow holding the drumsticks would be Jim Clark. Behind him with the bass drum is Cap Corduan, and the fellow with his back to us is Walter Sprantz, also a snare drummer. We were about to take part in a parade in Lugano, Switzerland, under the name of the Half-Fast Walking Band. That is a little bit of a tribute to a very inspirational musician for me, Mr. Pete Fountain, the king of the Dixieland clarinet players. During the Mardi Gras celebration in New Orleans, he would have a jazz band that went slowly sauntering down the street playing incredible jazz music, and they called themselves Pete Fountain and the Half-Fast Walking Band. Now, if you just say the name of that band to yourself very quickly, you'll get the joke. So what I would like to do today is dedicate a couple of tunes to my old friend Jim. And these are two of my own compositions. People have been asking me if I could play a couple of my tunes, so I'm very happy to do that. These two tunes, there's one jig and one is a reel, and I tried to write them in the style of these tunes from the Bruce and Emmett book. A little bit different from the usual style I write tunes in, but you know, what the heck? Gotta switch it up once in a while. The jig itself, the jigs in the Bruce and Emmett book largely are Irish in base or influence, and they tend to be kind of chip, chirpy tunes with a very bright high note jumping out here and then. That's the style I tried to write the jig in. The jig is called the 13th. It is called that because I wrote it on the 13th of the month, and it was the 13th tune that I composed, so I thought, that's good enough for me. The second tune, the 2/4, is called the Humors of Rosegreen. Rosegreen is where I used to live in Ireland. There's lots of tunes called the Humors of this place and that place in Ireland. Rosegreen was lacking in that category, so I thought I would try to fill the void. I've played it in two different styles. I play it on the Irish flute as an Irish reel, but I really did write it as an American style fife tune. These fife tunes in the Bruce and Emmett book, a lot of them are very challenging. The reels, they had a style of writing then where the tunes tend to jump around a lot between octaves, usually to a high note and then back down to a static low note, and the high notes would dance around, and the fifers would get frustrated and break their fifes and, you know, try again another day. So what I tried to do is write a tune in that style, except the notes that are usually low notes I made as the high notes, and the tunes go down, and I tried to write it for the left hand. If you watch in a lot of these tunes, a lot of stuff is happening down here or in the middle of the instrument, but in the second half of the reel, if you watch, everything is happening on the left hand, and the right hand is just along for the ride. So let's see what happens. The 13th and the Humors of Rosegreen. So, there we go. My attempt at two of my own compositions, the 13th and the Humors of Rosegreen. I hope you enjoyed those tunes. As always, be smart, be safe, be as careful as you can be, and we'll see you again tomorrow for a couple of more tunes from the shop. Take care, everybody.